Well, Raging Rob, it's pretty clear to me that you missed the point I was trying to make. You missed it completely by a mile. Here's a good question for you. What are you going to do when the biggest gun confiscation raids in the history of the U.S. starts? You going to fight back? Or are you going to let the powers that be, those in power of authority, to illegally confiscate your firearms, and you just stand by and sit back and watch it happen? Hmm? What are you going to do? I know what I'm going to do. Hmm. You think it's going to be Kamala Harris, AOC, Nancy Pelosi, and Sleepy Joe Biden's going to come to your doorstep, barge in your home, and then illegally steal your firearms? No, they don't have the balls. They don't have the guts. I'll tell you exactly who it's going to be. The cops, who you say you support. The cops, alongside with the federal agents and the National Guard, they illegally confiscated people's firearms. In order to do that, they had to legally trespass on their private properties, and that was in New Orleans in 2005. The aftermath of what happened in New Orleans because of Hurricane Katrina. The cops murdered Duncan Lemp, March 2020, in a red flag order raid. The cops murdered Gary Willis in November 2018 in a red flag order raid. What are you going to do? I want to know. And how, I just want to understand something. Actually, I don't understand it, and I never will. I don't understand how contacting your senators and your representatives, suing the powers that be, and attending these pro 2A rallies and attempting to vote the tyrants out is going to make everything better. Remember, Rob, when you attempt to vote a tyrant out, there's always another tyrant to take his or her place. Another tyrant's place. You said to me that obviously you haven't seen the videos of me squaring off or going toe to toe with the BLM supporters and the Antifa members. Those are not the people you should be fighting. You should be fighting the politicians. All of us. It's like I said, Raging Rob, we, myself included, have failed to keep the U.S. government in check. I mean, I enjoy seeing Black Lives Matter supporters and Antifa members get knocked out in the streets. I enjoy that. But you're fighting the wrong people. Do they have power? Do they have authority? No, they don't. You need to fight the politicians. You missed the point. Yeah. And then you said, well, what have you done? You say that as if you said it. You say that like I have something to prove to you. Not too long ago, you actually said to me, I have nothing to prove to you, Red Reaper. Hey, that's fine. That's that. But if you really want to know, I put in my hard-earned money to these gun rights organizations who I thought gave a damn about my gun rights. Turns out they don't. They don't. They don't give a damn about my gun rights. They don't give a damn about your gun rights either. You think they do, but they don't. Look at the NRA. Wayne something something, LaPierre, whatever, taking your money, buying yachts, with your own money. And not to mention, guess what else your money's being used on? Lawsuits. These gun rights cases in the Supreme Court, your money's being used for that. I'm one of those people who believes that taxation without representation is theft. Yep. Taxation without representation is theft. And also, I've been to many Pro 2A rallies. The last one I was a part of, marched in, was in December 2019. Once I got home from the 2A rally, I quickly realized, I just said to myself, these politicians, they don't care what we have to say. They don't care. Then it hit me. From the very moment I was born, I've been given, the U.S. government gave me a fixed deck. Just like the U.S. government gave you, Raging Rob, a fixed deck. You know I'm telling the truth, right? What makes you think that attending these Pro 2A rallies is going to stop the politicians from making and passing unconstitutional gun laws? These gun laws that's in place today, it doesn't stop the criminals from getting their hands on guns. It doesn't. They don't. Look at that, I just brought logic to the table. Now I tell you what you need to do. You shouldn't give your blind trust to the Supreme Court. The only person who should be fighting for your rights is you. The same concept applies to me and everybody else. But I'm not talking about fighting for your rights in the voting booths, lawsuits in the courtrooms, peacefully protesting in Pro 2A rallies. I'm talking about fighting with these. Fighting in gunfights. That's some real fighting right there. But no. Most gun owners, they're too pussified and to fire the first shot or fire back. I'm pretty sure the founding fathers, especially George Washington, is rolling around in their graves right now as I speak. But no, you want to pass it on to the next generation, to our kids. To me, that's some pussy ass bullshit if you ask me. Don't pass it on to your kids. If you're so sick and tired about the politicians violating your rights, when they cross that line that you've drawn, do something about it. See, that's the point here, Rob. Patriots, they keep on redrawing that line after that line has been crossed, when their rights are being violated. When the cops and the politicians cross that line, that first line, what do? You redraw another line. Same thing happens over and over again. That's the definition of insanity. It's an endless cycle. You redraw that line every time that line has been crossed, where your rights have been violated. Come on now. What is the saying? How do they say it? Evil flourishes when good men do nothing. The other day, actually yesterday, some douchebag who didn't even have a handicap sticker on his car parked in a handicapped spot. I told him, get the fuck out of the goddamn handicap parking spot, because you're not handicapped. And he admitted that he's not handicapped. He doesn't have a handicap sticker. you have to use force. Lethal or non-lethal force. To get the U.S. government to listen to you. You call the January 6th U.S. Capitol attack an insurrection? They should have been armed with AR-15s and handguns. You do realize that the U.S. Capitol attack was staged to make gun owners like you and I look bad. You do realize that, right? And there were BLM supporters there. There were Trump supporters there. There were Antifa members there. There were people of all walks of life, conservatives, liberals, and libertarians. But the U.S. Capitol attack was staged. It was a setup. Why do you think the gun control debate is on back to full force now? It's not just because of the shootings in Boulder, Colorado, or Atlanta, Georgia. It's also because of the U.S. Capitol attack. Like I said, the U.S. Capitol attack was nothing more but a failed insurrection attempt. So, then you said, you said to me, you're a dumbass. Well, dumbass, whatever. And the next, like later on in the video, you said, um, you're an alright guy, Red Reaper. Which one is it? Am I a dumbass or an alright kind of guy? I mean, come on now. Here's the point here. 2 points. Power does what it wants. The sooner you realize that, the better off you will be. And you'll have a pretty good idea how the real world works, how the United States of America works. And the courts is where our rights have been compromised the most. Let me repeat that. The courts is where our rights have been compromised the most, especially after 9/11. Not to mention you support the cops to protect and preserve your rights. I sure as hell don't. You do realize that the ATF and the FBI made the local cops at Waco and Ruby Ridge their bitches, and New Orleans? You know what a cop's loyalty is to? His or her paycheck. They say money talks, bullshit walks. Their loyalty is to their paychecks. They put their paychecks, their pensions before the Constitution. You know what I'm saying to be the truth. Mm-hmm.